Morning, everybody. This call meeting to order. This is the Friday, September 29, 2023 meeting of the Public Service Committee of the Standing Committee of the Gardner City Council. And the record should reflect that all members are present. Is anybody recording the meeting other than staff? Now we'll proceed. Further, the first item on our agenda is the Main Street road opening, or 109 Main Street opening with Tony Molina. He's got his architect here coming through.
So I did. This is the one.
Nobody's here?
No one's here.
Is that
Also, there are two people sitting there.
right? Oh, there we got some appeals too.
Yeah, there are 2 water appeals up there.
Well, let's move on and we'll see if
Yep.
we have somebody that might stop by. I think the next one we have is 202 Lady Street, Darling. That's not a comment.
What's the name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name's not Larry, it's Steve.
Sure, I can see this.
It's not
Okay.
Oh, that could have went bad.
Steve Areno,
Hi, Jimmy. Hey, right here.
have a seat. Steve Darling,
How you doing?
this has to do with an appeal of a water and sewer bill for your Lamy Street property, correct?
Correct.
Great. What would you like to tell us?
In the spring, my pool, it had along one of the sides was rusting, and you could see the liner through it, okay? And I had to get, it started leaking out. And all the water, I got somebody to repair it, it hadn't been down yet, but all the water went into
Ground.
my yard.
Yeah, so come.
Okay, so basically, I guess that's, you know, I didn't know about the pool fill request also. I had never done it, you know.
Well, there was some indication that it had been done in 2011.
Well, I had it repaired one other time, it was a line or two, and I don't know if they took out the repair, permit, would they have done it? The people that repaired the pool?
Maybe the people that installed the pool might have pulled it.
Well, it was Snyder at the time, yeah. So I don't know, personally,
You don't recall ever doing it? Yeah.
personally, I don't recall, because if I did, I would have gone for the top off every year, you know. But no, I didn't realize it.
And there was some, is this one, there was some mention that there had been sod that had been torn up?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
so there
my
was some
front
water-
yard, my tree, I had a lot of shrubs, some high shrubs, and they got demolished during the winter.
Yeah.
So I did put sod down and I watered the sod.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, I have no question about the water, it's just basically the sewer.
Yeah. Okay. Questions?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is pretty straightforward. The water didn't go through the sewers, so I would move to abate the,
Well, we have a regular sewer charge.
right to a regular sewer charge, to the average of, possibly the previous 3, something for that nature.
Seems fair. I don't see the sewer bill on here, I see the water bill. Account number 100.
I got this right here.
Sewers, $875.
And what is it customarily? That's what I'm looking.
That's,
What was it, around 150, or is that the other one I'm thinking of? I just didn't see the sewer part of it.
it's typically about $45. Well, actually, you can see it's 58, 52, somewhere around in there.
I'll round it out to,
$50.
sure. Abate all except the.
$50, all the sewer.
50 for that billing period?
Second the motion.
Okay. So the motion, Steve, is to abate the all of the sewer charge for that billing period, except for $50, which is kind of the average
Yeah,
of what you
yeah.
normally pay.
Yeah.
So, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. So, there'll be everything of that what is it, 871?
875.
875, so 825 has been abated.
Eight.
Being reduced by 800.
Oh, yes, yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay,
No, that's fine,
that's all.
okay.
I hope
Thank
so.
you, thank you very much.
Keep going.
Take care, Steve.
You too. Yeah.
Rebuild you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next one is 77 Nickel Street.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning,
It's Becky
how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Thank you.
This is an appeal of water and sewer charges for 77 Nickel Street.
Correct.
And what is your name, please, for the record?
Kimberly Ferguson.
Okay, welcome, Kimberly. This is the Public Service Committee that considers appeals of that type.
Thank you.
And what would you like to tell us?
So, my husband and I have lived in Gardner 25 years. We owned our house and we have never had this problem before, where we were shocked when we got our water bill because we had no idea that was happening. We did replace a hot water heater in February, and we weren't having hot water, and we thought it was an electrical problem. So I don't know what came first, like if it was an electrical problem, or if maybe there was water running that we didn't hear and it caused the heater to burn out. I don't know. I don't know much about that stuff. But we did have to replace our water heater to the tune of $2,500, and it took over 3 weeks to get one because they didn't have our size in stock at Home Depot. So that was one way we thought maybe something could have happened. And we do have 3 floors, so we did replace the innards of the 3rd floor toilet because it was leaking. That happened in the spring.
So around the same time as the water heater?
Yeah, so like within the quarter, that might be what happened, but I was blown away, because that's more water than we use in a year.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if there's something that you can do to help us, to lower the cost, but it's beyond our means to pay that level of,
And that, it appears that for that billing period, there was a water charge of $1358.50 and a sewer charge of $1,045. Is that the one we're talking about?
yeah, it was like $2,500 and almost fell over. Because we're used to getting bills somewhere between $500 and $600.
What is item number 700, Mr. Director? There's a charge of $177 under charge 700.
Is that trash maybe?
Trash.
Trash.
It's probably 3 trash units.
Yep, trash units.
Oh,
3
okay.
floors. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to be sure that we
Yeah.
understood. And the water heater is in the basement, I assume?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
and,
And we didn't have any water leaking out or anything. It was, an electrical, the panel burnt out, so we had to get a new one. But if it was leaking water, it would have had to have been I don't know, in a pipe or something, because we didn't see any.
and there was a leak on one of the upstairs toilets? Or the-
Yeah, we discovered that in April.
I see, okay, and this was be dated May 15th, so.
Yeah, we were gone to our son's wedding, and we were gone for 10 days. And when we came home, my son and his new bride live on the 3rd floor, and they don't know these kind of things. That's their first apartment by themselves, things like that. And so they didn't think anything of it, but when we got back, we were like, I hear something. And it wasn't a lot of water, but that was the only other thing I could think of. But it still is what happened?
I understand.
If I could just,
Mr.
it
Director?
does, it does appear that there's still something maybe going on in the apartment, because the last three bills you had, which one, that toilet leak might have happened during the winter billing months, because it did increase. Then you had your large leak for your next bill, and it's still high, in your August bill.
I thought it was too, I just didn't know if maybe things increased. So maybe we can replace all of the, like, because I'm not hearing any water.
Yeah,
That's what is confusing.
it's silent money, basically.
Yeah, and I'm like, what else,
Yeah.
where else could it be leaking? So we can go through and do the other two toilets, do you have any other suggestions?
Well, you may want to have a plumber take a look at it.
Okay,
Food coloring, they use, right, Dane?
Simple trick, take a like colored food coloring,
Uh-huh.
stick it in the back of the toilet,
okay,
come back like an hour later, and if it's in your toilet bowl,
then there's something.
you know you got a
leaking.
toilet, you got.
Okay, yeah, because there's no noise, there's nothing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this
Well, it
doesn't make
appears that
sense.
that's continuing, then the big one may go, is likely the water heater that was the problem.
Yeah,
And the third floor toilet.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's still something, it seems.
but there's still something going on.
Okay.
It appears.
so we'll call a plumber and see if they can come in
And check things. yeah.
and check these, but I'll start with so put it in the toilet, the back
Yeah,
toilet tank.
with the back of the tank,
Yeah.
I'll put some,
Sure, in the
Okay.
tank, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But you may wanna have that
I thought it was
checked
just
in
my
anyway.
son-in-law taking too many showers or something. But, no, but that one, but, I mean,
Looks like the average sewer bill, I mean, the leaking toilet is going into the sewer. But the water heater probably is, the water heater's in the basement, I think we already
yeah,
determined that.
Yeah,
Looks like
and
the
we
average
did
water
replace
bill
it.
before May of this year was 130, 150, thereabouts. And it took you a while to get the water heater replaced?
yeah. Because they didn't have it in stock. Because we have a 3-family, so we have
That
to
didn't have
have,
a certain capacity?
right. And so they didn't have any in stock, and it took a few weeks to get it delivered. And we picked it up, we got it installed right away, because it was really awful taking cold showers too in the middle of winter.
it is.
Gentlemen?
I'd be in support of abating due to the water heater issue, and especially, you can't help that things weren't in stock.
The sewer part?
The sewer part, yes.
And how much of that bill, I mean, the bill is, the average is around 150.
I would say so, yes. And the bill was $1,045.
$1,045. Have payments been made since then?
No, I'm actually making a payment this morning after I leave here.
Put a payment plan on it as well.
Sure.
Is this too for the the remainder for the water?
Then I would be I'd like to move to reduce the sewer portion of the bill to the average of $150, and what would be
That's for that billing period?
for that billing period, yes. Yeah. And for a payment plan,
The payment plan for payment plan for the water part? For how long a period of time do you think?
Director, I don't know, I want to suggest something that won't work with the system as a year, 4 quarters,
Yeah,
or
they can make a year.
they can make a year.
So
Would that be okay?
for that billing period, then we abate all but $150 of the sewer bill,
Okay,
and the water bill for that period, you pay over an additional amount of 1/4 in the next quarter for the next 4 billing periods.
okay.
Next billing period goes September 3rd, is it?
For her,
I know
it's
that
gonna
the
be
bill came
November.
in, so it's.
Oh, okay.
Right,
I'm
'cause
gonna go make that. I was gonna pay the last water bill today, and then figure out what I needed to start doing for the,
So it looks like it'd be around
and I will try that
an
oil,
additional
that way. Food coloring thing.
350 thereabouts.
Yeah,
On top.
sure, yeah.
Well, hopefully you can get the rest of it taken care of as well.
Yes,
But the motion is to abate all but $150 of that billing period's sewer bill and to offer a payment plan or require a payment plan of 4 billing periods for the, that period's water bill.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you guys, and ladies, thank you very much.
Good luck, you're welcome.
All right, I'm headed there now.
Good morning, apologies for my tardiness. Rain slows everybody down.
Good morning.
Morning.
Next thing we have is review and approval of minutes for the meetings of August 31st.
Move we waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented.
Second?
Any discussion?
Is here?
Oh, sorry.
And just, yeah, who's next?
Tony.
Oh, Mr. Molina is here? No, let's have a vote of them.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, we're just moving on to the, it's time for Mr. Molina. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
What morning are there?
For the record, you are, sir?
Tony Molina?
Good morning, Mr. Molina.
Good morning.
Is anybody else here? Is Mr. Jarvis here?
No, he will make it.
Okay, because he had indicated that he was gonna come, so.
Oh,
Okay. You're here on a request to open a recently paved street in front of 109 Main Street, correct?
correct, yes.
And that's to connect to a gas line, which apparently is located on the other side, the opposite side of Main Street. And the information we have indicates that there's an existing line going from that property to the line that was disabled previously.
Yes.
And the gas company has apparently indicated that if the main where that connects is excavated and that line checked, pressure checked for it, whether it's still good, then the only excavation that would be needed would be at the main.
Correct,
Is that correct?
yes,
And otherwise, if it fails, then you'd have to open it up.
yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Before we get started, excuse me for
No worries.
interrupting myself. Mr., you are the owner, or your LLC is the owner of the property?
Correct,
And Mr. Jarvis is the operator of, or the
one of the
proposed
tenants.
operator of, a tenant with a lease
Yes, correct,
to run Golf RX, is that the?
correct,
Gonna go in at 109,
yes,
along with a deli of some kind,
yes,
maybe?
correct.
You're aware that this item was on our agenda for August 31st?
Yes, I'm sorry. I do.
And did Mr. Jarvis ask you about the status of that after we realized that you didn't appear for that meeting?
Well, the just take a step back on this, just kind of, yeah.
And the reason I asked that is then I was hopeful Mr. Jarvis would be here, but he isn't, so. Mr. Jarvis, on September 6th, a few days after the meeting where you weren't in attendance,
Mhm.
sent an email to the mayor
Oh, jeez, okay,
saying, and I'll quote his email,
yeah,
"We have hit a roadblock and need your assistance," meaning the mayor.
oh,
"We require a new water connection." He didn't mention the gas connection.
yeah,
"We require a new water connection at 109 Main Street per the attached email. The DPW doesn't seem to have any urgency to get this done or even put it on the schedule." And that's on September 6th, the week after our meeting.
that's not,
Our plan to open November is completely out the window if this does not happen soon. Furthermore, once the ground freezes, we will be totally out of luck and unable to open whatsoever this year without the new water connection. Again, the gas connection probably is for the deli more than the, anyway, whatever it is.
I think, when, typically I don't relate
So-
any kind of process to my tenants.
Why would he think that there was no urgency of, with the DPW or even with this committee?
Don't know where he got that from, because we were aware all the whole time that we need
Well-
to open the road to get water.
Well, he was aware of it too. Did you tell him that there was a meeting on, that you were scheduled to be with us on August 31st?
No, because we didn't need, basically, to take a step back, we are looking for a gas line, but in reality, we're looking to just run with, if we don't get to fix the gas line across the street, we're not gonna proceed with the gas line, we're gonna run all electric on the building. And as far as water and sewer goes, we knew we were good, we already had camera, everything, and we knew that the stuff for the water was.
So the water connection's in the sidewalk, I guess,
It
right?
was actually in the building already, so we just decided to change the pipe from the sidewalk into the building to make it new, but there was no need to cut the road, and we knew that the whole time, so I don't know where he got that information from, so that's kind of taking
Well,
a step
I
back.
assume you speak with them.
I try not to give him a lot of information, he's trying to tell him we'll be ready when the lease says to be ready, November 1st, so, and that's.
So, your indication about going all electric is that you don't need the gas now?
I would like the gas, of course, that would be my first and foremost, but I do, if we can remediate the line that runs across the street and make that work, that's what I would look into cut where the main goes.
Okay.
However, I do not wish to cut the road completely across if that's not my intention, nor I want that, because it's new, so if we could.
So your request is just to open at the main?
Yes, to test the water.
So they're still gonna have a trench and a travel lane.
No, I understand, we still need the okay, and,
Yeah.
but it's a little different from what we had expected.
Well, we discovered yesterday, we had a Unitel out there and we had a new drain doing some work, and it looks like the line coming across is right to the building, and it looks pretty healthy, so it's a good hopes that it's good.
Well, Mr. Director,
You'll still have a 4x4 trench in the center of a new road, so it's whether we wanna have that or not.
I
We can
understand.
have-
well, what, are there conditions that you'd like to see?
Yes, Unitel's offered to, obviously, they're very good with their trench work. They offered to infrared, which basically they'll heat up and rake, so you won't even see it like a trench patch. And we'll have them on the hook for at least 2 years with our road opening permit to come back and fix it in the event it fails. But
So who actually pulls the permits for something like that?
Unitil will pull it, and they'll own that trench for the life of the
Okay.
trench.
Okay.
And for 2 years because of the moratorium, you're saying, or?
It's 2 years because of our road opening permit, that's our policy.
When you wrote, whoever owns it for 2 years?
Whenever you open the road in general, it doesn't have to be part of a road that was recently paved, it's just if you open it, you have
Correct.
to fix it for 2 years.
And the utility is actually, they're mandated by the state and federal, they actually own that trench for the life of it, until we repave the road. So I don't have any qualms with them owning the trench.
Okay, and they're the ones that have to pull the permit?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any other conditions that you'd like to see associated with this opening?
I think that's it, like I said, it was, the gas is.
So what we're looking at here is a request to open just at the main,
Correct.
not a contingent full opening from the other side of the street, because they're not gonna do that anyway, if the line fails. You're gonna go electric if the line
I
fails.
mean, if you've dug the road,
There you go, at that point.
and and if the line fails, I would assume you would then trench across the road,
Right.
so.
Well, I guess I'm confused.
Well, if the work is that much, impacts the road that much, and I'm sure they're gonna have to cut at least a 4x4 access, probably just makes sense to get it done and just get the gas what we're looking for, because we need cooking appliances, and electric is extremely expensive to run these days. For a tenant, could be a deal breaker.
Well, I'm confused a little bit.
So what, yes.
Because what I understood your request is that if you open them at the main and test the gas line and it fails, that you didn't wanna cut the rest of the road, you were gonna go to electric. But now you're saying you wanna cut the road if the line fails?
Yeah, that was option B, which is not what I necessarily, my preference is that if we are allowed to, certainly cut the road and get us the line if we have to, that I'd love to do that, but I am trying to keep it to the bare minimum to at least give us the access to cut a line to see if we can.
I think maybe we should start with that. What do you?
I agree.
I just have a question of,
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry.
No,
I think it was 2011, 2010 that the gas line was abandoned. Director Arnold, I don't know if you can answer this, but is that a long time, like is is it a better chance that the line will fail than not fail?
I don't know a lot about gas lines.
No.
I don't know why it was abandoned, whether it was cast iron and it leaked, I don't,
You said you had a chance to look at it at this one end,
Oh, we discovered one end of it. Correct.
and it looked okay.
It's, yeah, visually.
I mean, the reality is that the gas company's out there and they've excavated and they've got it exposed. If they decide, hey, we wanna run, we wanna connect to the building, and we say, no, you can't trench across the road, that means fill in the trench, and then, and the gas company themselves coming back and
Doing it again.
doing it again.
And also back charge, I think, at that point, because.
I'm just looking at the reality of,
Yeah.
That's why I asked my
Process.
question too, because
Yeah.
it does seem kind of,
Redundancy.
I wish that we could scope it or have some sort of knowledge about the pipe without excavating the road.
I mean, is there a huge savings going electrical? Because once you open up a road, you're breaking, you basically,
Yeah, that's low.
it exponentially fails faster. I mean, is it a huge financial savings to the building?
It's more of like, it's more for the tenants, what we're looking to do, like a cooking appliances, you know, the better with gas.
Well, if, I guess, I'm still a little confused about what we want to do. At minimum is open up at the main.
I think you need to give him access across the road or no access at all, because he may not need it.
Well,
I don't
what I'd be
want it.
inclined to do is recommend approval of excavation at the main, and then upon information from from Unitil that the gas line has failed, then permit the opening, or do you think it's,
I wonder if the time delay there, if they're gonna have the road open.
They're gonna do it that day.
Right.
the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would just continue excavating and laying in service.
They do have an option, but they said they may be able to, what they call mole. They're just not sure they can be able to do it, but that would be.
Just do it without opening the road?
They'd still have to dig
At the main, right.
and then mole under the road. It's just gonna depend on what's there for structures and. they'd probably
What
have
kind
to-
of stuff is underneath there, right?
So that would be determined again on site, but that would be a good recommendation, is to have the gas company at least target that.
Target of molding? Okay.
And was this road was paved in 2020?
Yeah, 2021.
2021.
21?
It's a couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, any other conditions, assuming that it's gonna open the whole trench, or trench across, any other conditions besides besides,
Not that I can think of, no, not for the gas company.
okay. Because again, they'd be the permit, they'd have the permit.
I think hopefully in the future, this doesn't happen as much, but some sort of financial analysis would have been good to see too,
Okay.
potential savings.
We need a plan of any kind?
Yeah, they'll have to submit, the gas company will.
Because they have to pull the permit.
Mr. Mullin, when did you purchase the building?
2021,
2021, so
late 2021.
the reality is the road was probably paved before you
Yeah.
even owned the property. Pursuant to the conditions, I'd like to, leave your motion pursuant to the conditions that we discussed, I'd move to allow the trenching, obviously starting with the, just the 4x4, hopefully that they need to do the lines, do the molding, and if not, allow the
Full trench.
the full trench across.
Second motion.
Okay, and I would just want to be clear for the record what the conditions are, Mr.
They're gonna access the main, like a 4x4 trench-ish, whatever the gas company needs to access it. They'll make a determination whether they can mole across the road. We'll be in contact, good communication with the gas company. If they can't, they're gonna have to trench it. They'll backfill it, compact it, and they'll infrared the seams of the trench.
Okay. Just, and those are the conditions of the approval of the opening.
Correct.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? If you could do us the favor, Mr. Molina, of informing Mr. Jarvis that this matter was on our agenda on August 31st,
I will.
and nobody was here.
I will certainly
Thank you.
relate that. Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Great. Thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Sure, we'll see you around.
Well, there's many others to work on, right?
There are a lot more coming, but we'll try to,
So keep up the good work.
thank you. Try to make those goals smoother, so, have a good day.
Between Molina Realty and Molina Inmark, I think there's about a dozen properties. It's a lot. A lot of them are residential.
Prospect Street, Gardner Views,
Pine Street.
Chestnut Street.
Yeah, there's a number of residential units. Okay,
11052.
okay. Next item is, a 11052, petition by National Grid for pole locations on Park Street, or pole changes on Park Street. Mr. Engineer?
So I've had a lot of communication with National Grid since writing my memo to the committee.
This is the one that there isn't some controversy on it.
Yeah, so item 11052 is just a single-owned pole that they're proposing to remove the old pole off of Lake and Park Street and install it at Park Street. I have no issue with that, and the resident who expressed concerns at your last council meeting, that doesn't impact her. So 11052, there's no changes, so I'm still fine with that.
I'm looking at the map that was associated with this petition,
Yep.
and it appears to be, doesn't appear to, I don't see anything, because this goes down by Vernon Street, doesn't it?
This isn't the plan you're looking at, but it's pole P1284, which is in the
Oh, that's, okay.
the backyards of, I guess it would be 74 Park Street and 74 106 Lake Street. Grid's desires to get that pole out of there, which has kind of been their thing lately, is getting them out of properties.
I guess I was a little confused with the description because it's listed west of Vernon Street. You know, a distance west of Vernon Street. That seems to be east of Vernon Street.
Yeah. You know, this is where the pole is, I've looked at it, so, again, I'm fine. The description's slightly off, but they know where their pole is, and I know it as well.
Okay.
So,
So that I want to bust their chop.
yeah, well, no, never. So item 11.
Actually, that'd be DOT, then.
Item 11053, which is the series of poles going on Park Street, including the pole at the residence driveway who expressed concerns. Last week, I was on site.
Well, let's work on the first one first.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Just, are there any questions on that one, which is 11052?
Engineer seems
Satisfied
with it, so I move to recommend approval to the full council.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to recommend approval of petition 11052? Not all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to 11053.
So the next item, last week, I believe it was last Friday, I met with National Grid and the concerned resident at site. We discussed several options for the location of that pole, including not moving it. We left that meeting with Grid expressing that they would look at those options. And in the meantime, over the course of this week, Grid has reached out to the city's engineer, this is Jester Roy, Office of Community Planning and Development, who's running the project in Pine Bond. They all discussed location of the poles on this particular item. And Grid had come up with, in conversations with the city and our engineer, the locations of those poles. So the outcome of that was, and I have,
So
this is this is the current, and it's going to differ slightly from what the petition reads, because the petition hasn't been amended. But what's happening here, so pole 3, which would be at the intersection of Central and Park, where our resident is concerned with the location, they've determined they don't need to move that pole. They're gonna replace it in place with a new pole, but the location will stay the same. And then moving down the line, down Park Street, pole 4, pole 5, pole 6, pole 7, and pole 9 will all be moving to accommodate not moving pole 3. And also the city's project for the multi-use path through here. So poles 4, 5, 6, and 7 will all be moving back off of the back edge of the sidewalk. So they'll be in the grass behind the sidewalk. That makes.
That's 4, 5, 6, and 7?
Correct. I'm sorry, I take that back. Pole 4, rather than moving back, is actually gonna step forward to the curb. And that's the key to keeping pole 3 in
In
place.
its current location?
Yes, so in other words, now we don't have to guide pole 3 because pole 4, which is currently guided across the street from Pole Monument Park, will remain as such. So that's what's allowing pole 3 to stay in place.
There's currently a pole in Monument Park.
Yep, so pole P41 is currently there and currently guides pole 4. And coincidentally, pole 4, which was originally scheduled to move back, will then allow, there's a nice tree there on this property's front yard, it's gonna allow just minor trimming. Previously, it was, when I looked at it, the tree's probably gonna have to go. So, I think that's a bonus. So then 5, 6, and 7, and 9 move back off the sidewalk. 9 previously wasn't proposed to be moved. So that's really the key difference in those, is just the way they're moving, but essentially it's the same proposal.
Are these new locations on the city's right of way?
Yes. So the city's engineer had looked at that, so discussions with National Grid back and forth. They considered that, and so they cleared it, so that's where they like to put it.
And what are P484 and P61? You're looking at?
P484, that's existing, those are existing poles.
Oh, okay, they're just not labeled on the old one.
Yeah, the
Okay.
old plan.
The new one there, yeah.
Yeah, this plan's a little bit more complete.
Okay.
The petition needs to be amended, and I'm wondering whether, I mean, this is significantly different from the one that we have.
Yeah, I mean, it would change the description.
I'm just wondering whether we need another public hearing and notice, because we're changing locations adjacent to properties that are,
I mean, I know the city's project is on the timeline and
why don't you tell us about that, Jess?
Well, the project is, Park Street Park itself is complete. To be honest, in terms of when we were looking to have this done, I think it should be within the next, I think the next month or so is when they were planning on getting it done.
You're talking about National Grid getting it done?
Yes, that's my understanding. I'm honestly not fully sure on the full timeline for the project, I just took it on.
I understand.
But I believe the plan is to get it done as soon as possible. They're ready to start moving things as soon as we approve it, so I understand if we need to amend and come back, but ideally, if it's possible to, I'd like to move it forward.
Well, we'd have to have the amended language, the description, we'd have to have that, and attach the new plan to that.
I could request and see if National Grid could get that out as soon as possible, hopefully prior to the council's meeting on Monday. I know that's a short time frame. I can always make the request, it doesn't mean it would happen. Or that the council would move
Just
on
one
such
time.
short notice, yeah.
What do you guys think?
Are we scheduling a hearing again, June? Is that the?
Well, let's just, before we get to that, I mean, are we, assuming we don't do that, are we in a position to act on it?
I just have a question. For the projects, for the reasons for these poles moving, is there a deadline from a grant or funding perspective that they need the work completed?
It is part of this current CDBG funding cycle. We can extend or request an extension. We are already doing that for the Mackey Park project, so that could be part of the extension request if necessary.
Okay.
I'd be a lot more comfortable acting on something that is for us, rather than
For sure.
something that we might be getting between now and Monday. So I think we hold on to this, I think for the time being, this one.
Yeah.
So I would reach out to National Grid to
No, we gotta get it moving anyway.
request an amended petition.
Right. Rather than, unless you guys think that another public hearing is, all of these poles are on the city's right of way.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't think there's any new addresses, that
No.
are being affected.
No.
Well, I think
Okay.
that's fair.
Then we can amend it rather than withdraw it and start over.
Agreed.
Okay, so we'll request more time on this particular 11-0 package. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
very good, thank you for coming. Are there any other poll petitions associated with the Monument Park project?
No.
Because I received a call from an abutter on the corner of Maple and Central Street, who was contacted by National Grid about a pole location near them.
I can answer that for you.
Okay.
So when we were out at site discussing options, an option was presented to put a pole all the way across Central on that property to guide, which was deemed unnecessary under the current arrangement.
Okay, so I can report to that abutter that it's not gonna
It's
happen?
off the table.
Okay, because he didn't think much of it.
You know, that's the impression I got.
I'll let him know. Anything else on this item? Okay, moving on. Department updates. Public Works, Mr. Director.
Eaton and Park Street is complete. They put the top coat on like a week and a half ago. They were able to paint the center lines and the new guardrails. Take a ride down the road.
I did.
Really nice.
It's
Looks
very
great.
nice.
Yeah.
You're up there with some regularity.
I am, and I actually drove by last night and the shiny guardrails in the night were quite stunning.
Yeah, yeah, it came out real nice. Speaking of paving, Keys Road area, which includes Keys Road, Rugby, Watkins, Princeton, the entire area down there on the other side of West Street, that whole section there. They're coming in Saturday to lower structures, and on Tuesday, they'll be in to start pulverizing the neighborhood, turn it to gravel, grade it. We're actually doing the sidewalk along, that goes from West Street down to the intersection of Rugby. That's all gonna get redone. Do handicap ramps. We're also putting one across, there's a crosswalk on the state road that goes over to Acadia, there's a bus stop there. We're just making a little area that's a little safer for a bus stop there as well. So we're starting that road. And speaking of paving, the mayor has informed me that he's giving me, he's put in front of the council, I guess, for a 10% of the city's certified funds.
I think it's
So-
250 grand,
Yeah,
thereabouts, round numbers.
So I hope we strongly support that. So that's as far as paving goes.
Well, on that topic, since it's come up, why don't we, if you want to entertain a motion to recommend endorsement of the Service Committee recommending in favor of the mayor's free cash appropriation for paving.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think it's good, right? So, fully supported.
Would that be something you could use this year, or be in the spring?
Realistically, if it got approved the 5th, by the time I got it mobilized, I would be more in the spring, I think.
Oh, we want to know where it's going to be spent.
No, that's for discussion.
Okay, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion passes.
There'll be a request, I believe, in front of the council at some point coming up in the next few, probably a few meetings. There's where we put all our stumps and the residents bring in brush and whatnot over at the transfer station. The city splits with the Board of Health out of their solid waste, with their solid waste account, to grind this up and basically turn it into mulch. We got quotes, 3 quotes, the Board of Health actually got 3 quotes for $25K, so we would be splitting that $12,500. I'm gonna be writing a proposal to the finance in the next few meetings, so you'll be seeing that after
Okay,
the money's.
what happens to the mulch?
It's stored, we actually can use it for, after it decomposes, we can use it for looming and, fill.
Okay,
Yeah. Fill.
so it's not used as mulch, it's used
It's just fill material more or
for
less.
material?
Yeah. We're preparing for the Fall Fest, which is coming up this weekend. Just some road closures and things like that we're working with the police department on. So that's this Saturday. We have to do some repairs on the Crystal Lake building roof with the wind coming across the Crystal Lake. We noticed some shingles being removed, so you might see some contractor up on the roof of City Crystal Lake in the next few weeks. It's about $4 grand worth of shingle repair that we have to do. So that's coming up. And lastly, we're starting a disc golf. We met with...
That's gonna be up at Bailey Brook
yeah,
Park?
out in the woods in that area. We met with a person yesterday who's an avid disc golf, and he's played a lot. We also have someone on board who's designed 3 of them in the state. So we're bringing them in to go along. We're gonna start with 9 holes, get some use up there, get some feedback, and then branch off to 18. And we actually have enough room for a 36 hole. That's our pipe dream. But I want to make it one of the best in the state. That's our goal.
So that'd be great.
Yep. So that's starting. It's probably going to take, honestly, probably a year before we get it out, get it built, tweak it, and get it out ready to go. But
That's just for the 9, for about a year?
yeah, that's what I think.
Okay.
So that's, I want your input out, because obviously it's conservation property as well, but we've talked about putting it out there. So.
Yeah, there was some talk about putting it around the Pearly Brook Trail.
We did, but there's no real parking. We did look into that. We looked at Cowie, there's no parking area, so we thought this with the parking.
Yeah, you've already got access.
And it was logged, so it's easier to kind of manipulate the disc golf, so. That's all I got.
I'm not sure if this is, I have a question, whether it's for you or for the engineer. What's the status of the Uptown Rotary?
That's in my presentation.
Okay.
That's most of my presentation.
Any questions for the director?
No questions, thank you.
Moving on, Mr. Engineer.
Okay, to answer your question about the Uptown Rotary, I just got word from the contractor that they're still at least 2 weeks out from mobilizing and getting going. I talked to them a couple of weeks ago, and they had something come up and delayed them, so.
So we're working on another project?
Yeah, probably. The scope for them for this construction season, before they have to shut it down for winter, is mostly just drainage work out there. So their goal is to leave it in a state where everything's patched up, the city can plow, there's no issues. Some things will be barreled off, but their goal is to not leave a headache for the DPW with their planning. So beyond that, next year the heavy at-grade work starts with the actual grading of the rotary, paving, and laying out paving. So that will all be coming up next spring. So hopefully when they're gone for the winter, it's not an issue and things go smoothly for the director. So that's the update on that. Talking about free cash and requests for funds, I have a few of my own. I recently sent an email to the mayor, mostly related to ongoing projects. On the Uptown Rotary, Niche Engineering, our consultant, had under our contract provided there was additional work done. That was $24,500 that I don't have in my budget for the project, so I've asked the mayor for those funds. On Wayside Dam, which design is ongoing, there is a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers submittal that originally when the project kicked off and design get going, the Army Corps had said, we don't need this permit. Their policy has shifted. They now want us to submit this application. So that's an additional service that we have to have our engineers provide. So the submittal, preparation, coordination with Army Corps, responding to comments. They've got a budget that they gave me at $13,600. I Again, it's money that I don't currently have in my budget, so I've requested that. Two other requests, which are more placeholders than anything, both related to the 140 pedestrian bridge for the bike trail. That project, because it carried out through COVID, it was the design for the 25% dragged on. Mass DOT changed requirements. There were lots of changes that our engineer had to account for. They've given me an amendment to that for almost $85,000 for services they provided. I've had to kind of, obviously put them on hold because I need the money from somewhere. So I've requested that. That request was also made to Mass DOT. The mayor, I had many conversations with Mass DOT about funding for this particular project, and they had suggested we ask them for the funds, which the mayor had done a few months ago. That was included in that. Recent conversation with Mass DOT, they indicated to me that they don't typically cover design that's already taken place. They'll fund design, but they don't like to go back and pay. So I didn't really get a great feeling that that might get funded through Mass DOT, so I've asked it of the mayor. It's not
So we haven't gotten a response yet?
I don't have a final response yet,
Yeah.
so I'm awaiting that, but I at least want it to be known that it's out there. If we can't find the funding for it, we have to find it somewhere. And then the last item I asked for, or at least got on that email, was the actual 100% design for construction for the bridge, which is to the tune of almost $667,000. I've described to you before that we've applied for a grant, and we have Mass DOT committed to matching that grant to pay for that. Again, I don't have final on that, but just as it's out there, I don't want.
What's the grant, where?
So the grant
was from?
It was through the Federal Highway Administration. It was a rural and tribal pilot grant, which up to we had requested $320,000 for this. Mass DOT committed to funding the rest with our application, so that makes it attractive to that particular program. It's a first come, first serve grant, so there's no guarantee will be considered.
So they run out of money.
Right, and what happened was, of course, trying to get Mass DOT to commit while it happened after the application opened. I had opened to file it as soon as it opened, and it was, I don't know, maybe a week later.
And you got the DOT?
Yeah, so it's, I don't know that we'll get it. If we don't get it, I've had conversations with Mass DOT, at least the project manager for our region, who had said she hopes they'll still cover the cost for designing that bridge, just because we've been underserved over the years, this area, and rail trails and things like that, so they want to help this area. So I'm still hopeful that that will be covered, but again, I don't have a final answer on it. So as a placeholder, I just described them to the mayor, and it's really the first two items that these services were provided, actually the first three, that those services have been provided, and they really need to get, squared away. So, I know the mayor's got this. Hopefully they'll get into finance soon and get those addressed.
I don't think there was anything on the finance committee agenda for Monday.
No, no, there's certainly not. My first step was to get it to the mayor, get it on his radar. So hopefully, it comes to finance soon. And that's all I have for you today.
Any questions of the? No. Conservation.
A few things. Firstly, Bailey Brook Park, there was a ribbon cutting, I think last Thursday, and the open space area has been mowed, so that's exciting. It looks amazing now. Looks like an actual park. And there was also a ribbon cutting for Park Street Park. We had Lindsay attend that to make sure she didn't leave without being there.
Recognition, yeah.
Park
Street Park looks great.
It's being used
Yeah.
frequently, especially in the
Very
mornings.
much so.
People are walking their dogs, and
It's just
there's a
very
couple that,
visible.
yeah.
Over the lake when you drive by, it's nice.
Yeah, so it's definitely being used already, and
It's a nice vista.
yeah. will be a few changes or additions to that. They did the landscaping, on some of the edges, it looks nice, and then there's some spots that are kind of sunken in and kind of collecting water, but they're gonna go back and, fill that and make sure that it doesn't collect water in those areas. And then there are a couple of notice of requests that we're getting through the commission, such as like mini storage, and
Is that mini storage expansion?
yes,
Yeah.
143 Colony.
Mhm. Because they had a planning board, there was something on the
Yeah.
planning board about that.
So they came through to the commission, but they have to go back and revise their plans and then have the commission go out and check out the site themselves. And then there is a request for a certificate of compliance, because National Grid did a bunch of work this past year, starting in the winter. They did some like test boring all around Gardner, and I did an extensive site walk and just to check the wetland matting to make sure that they didn't disrupt the vegetation there. And you couldn't even tell that there were machinery going through, so it looks great.
Where was that again, please?
There's National Grid, they did a bunch of borings, so if you walk like the right of way for utility lines,
Mm-hmm.
they do the borings in between the lines. It's all around Gardner, like I was probably in 12 different sites
Locations.
yesterday.
Okay.
Hard to keep track.
Well, it was a nice day to be outside.
It was, luckily. And that's it for my updates, but I'm excited about the disc golf because I was told that was an idea that's
It's gonna happen, yeah.
really coming to light.
I've seen them, there's one over at, on the Barry side of the Rutland State Park.
Yeah.
And it's really kinda neat.
Yeah, it is. I don't play. I have no idea.
Well, maybe you will.
That's always time.
By the sounds of it, the gentleman who's volunteering with the DPW to work on it, he's very involved at the state level with it, and he's received outpouring of people who are interested and want to help and volunteer, and it's an up and coming thing, and it seems like everybody's hungry for it, so.
It's a tight community. I have friends, I'm awful at it, but I played a couple times. My friends were really into it, and it's a tight community. They want to take care of, when it gets built, they'll help take care of it. They'll be out there.
What he described, sounds good.
Jess, since you're here, you've been kind enough to join us, anything you'd like to add?
It's a good question. Well, for Mackey Park, it was put on hold, but we are looking to start right after Oktoberfest happens. CDBG is committing $50,000 to close the gap in the funding. We should have that in the next week or so, and then we'll be able to get started. Busy Bee is going to be the one contracting for it. It had already gone out to bid, so they've just been waiting
Could
on our
you just
go-ahead.
describe for the record to anybody that's watching what that is?
Yes. So Mackey Park is going to be a terraced, or a 3-level terrace location across from the Ale House, next to the West Street parking lot. It's going to have some ADA accessible picnic tabling, some concrete cornhole, you have to bring your own bags, and a concrete pad for staging, and it'll have electrical running throughout so we can have some live music there. And there'll be enough electric as well for some new electric charging stations in the West Street lot.
Anything else?
That's all for now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the updates.
Thank you.
Council requests?
I have none.
No? Nothing at this time. So, move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Aye, also.
Thank you.